Some of my subscribers might not know this, but over the past 2 years, since I've been doing movie reviews on YouTube, I have attempted to review Independence Day for a while. But now, mostly because of the pandemic and not many new movies are coming out right now, I figured this would be the perfect time to talk about Independence Day. So, yeah. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Finally, I have a chance to review Independence Day. I gotta call my brother. I gotta call my housekeeper. I gotta call my lawyer. Forget my lawyer. There's just so many lines about that movie. There's just so many lines that are so quotable. But my favorite moment one of my favorite moments in the film was when Will Smith checks the spaceship and then the alien comes out, punches it. Welcome to Earth. That's what I call a close encounter. There's so much to love about Independence Day, but it's not a flawless film. Some of the effects are dated, and there are some effects that do hold up, especially when it comes to, like, some of the explosions of, like, various buildings. I mean, mostly the explosion of the White House is just, oh my god. If anybody grew up back in the 90s, you've probably seen the trailer, and you're like, oh my god, I have to see this movie. I can imagine back in the 90s, once everybody saw that trailer with the alien spaceship blowing up the White House, they're just like, holy shit, I really have to see this movie. Have you seen my part 2 of my VHS collection? I mentioned a little personal info about my father taking my mother to see this movie. But it was back around the time that they were still dating, and he remembered that it was like one of the few moments of going into the theater where they had a difficult time picking a seat, because he remembered the theater being packed, and that's how huge Independence Day was back in '96. I haven't watched this movie until I was like, I think I was at least like 7 or 8 years old when I first watched it. This is possibly my favorite movie directed by Roland Emmerich, and my quick thoughts on Godzilla. I liked it as a kid, but as you get older, you're like, that movie was a piece of shit. But when it comes to Independence Day, for me, it's easily his best film. I haven't seen Stargate. I've heard, it's like some people were excited to see it, but then when they saw the movie, most people can end up being disappointed with it. But when it comes to Independence Day, it's special for a lot of people, especially when it comes around the time of the 4th of July and Independence Day. Mostly when it comes to Independence Day, I of course watch it every time the 4th of July comes on. And quick summary of the plot. I might get into some spoilers if anybody hasn't seen the movie, and if you have not seen Independence Day, short version is go see Independence Day. But everybody else, there you are. So, we have these humongous alien spaceships hovering above very populated cities and cities across the globe, and they're prepared to wipe out most of humanity. So, it is up to us to save humanity! So, that's basically the plot. Like I said, some of the special effects, they still hold up. Some of them are dated. So, mostly the effect where you can see one of the ships, heading into Earth's atmosphere, and you can see all the clouds and the fire and everything, and it's just, especially when you see the ships in space, especially when you see the mothership entering in, it's just, but it has pretty good performances as well, mostly when it comes to Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, and Bill Pullman. Mostly when it comes to Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, they own this movie, especially Jeff Goldblum. I loved Jeff Goldblum in the 90s, especially in Jurassic Park. I will never get tired of him as Ian Malcolm. What I'm trying to say is that life finds a way. It's just, how could anybody not love Jeff Goldblum? It's fucking Jeff Goldblum. Of course he's gonna be amazing. And of course, you have Will Smith, who is an absolute badass. I'm just wondering when we're gonna go up and kick E.T.'s ass. It's just. Never get tired of the Fresh Prince. And Bill Pullman gives one of the best speeches ever given in film history. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day. It's just, like I said, there's a lot to love about this movie, but it's also cheesy, and that's one of the few reasons why I like this movie. It works being a cheesy adventure movie, especially, I mean, you have aliens who are prepared to wipe out humanity. It can also be very suspenseful at times. Mostly, there's one scary scene. I remember this scaring me a bit as a kid. Is like when they're in Area 51, they're doing an autopsy on the alien. They think it's dead, but then it turns out to be alive, and it kills like almost everybody in the room. And it uses the scientist to communicate with the president. Release me. And when the president tries to talk to him, can there be a peace between us? Peace. No peace. What is it you want us to do? Die. That voice alone is scary as shit. And the effects used for the aliens, they still look pretty awesome to this day. It's just, I'm okay with a lot of effects being used with CGI, but I mostly have a lot of respect for people who work their asses off, mostly involving with like monster makeup and stuff like that. I mean, you have people working on like movies like An American Werewolf, The Terminator, and like various other movies that have like dozens of makeup. I love the effects used in the thing, and some of the in-camera effects do look pretty awesome to this day. And right when the Air Force is about to attack one of the ships, they cannot even land a hit on any of the ships because, of course, they have shields. And when they do find a way to penetrate their defenses, I love Jeff Goldblum's line, I give it a cold. I give it a virus. A computer virus. I absolutely love Jeff Goldblum in this movie. And the scene where him and Will Smith are about to head to the mothership to upload the virus, right when they're taking off on the ship, it goes really fast, and Will Smith's like, I've got to get me one of these! A lot of lines in this movie are cheesy as hell. It's just... I mean, there's a lot to love and there's a lot to hate. Most of the effects, like I said, some of them are dated. Mostly... there is like a few effects. Like I said, some of the effects for the ships, you could tell that they're completely CGI, and like I said, it's dated at this point. Back in the 90s, back when it first came out, it looked, I'm pretty sure for a lot of people it looked amazing. I already mentioned the spaceships, and there is one effect that I cannot buy, and it's the dog moving in slow motion and just trying to get away from all this fire and destruction and everything because one of the ships destroying one of the cities. I mean, you have these humongous spaceships hovering above like New York, LA, Washington D.C., various other populated cities across the globe, and it's just we're in deep shit now. Yeah. And the big action sequence at the end is pretty awesome to this day. And when you have the character Russell Case about to head towards this ship's core, I'm gonna call it its core right now. And right when that's about to fire, all right, you alien assholes, and the words of my generation, up yours. And right when he's about to blow up the ship, hello, boys! I'm back! Like I said, this has a lot of 90s cheese, and that's one of the few reasons why I love Independence Day. It's not perfect at all by any means, but there's a lot to, like I said, there's a lot to like, and there's a lot to. I mean, I wouldn't say there's not a lot to hate. Critics back at the time they were mixed on the film, but over time, I mean, it's obviously one of the more. I mean, it's one of the best and one of the most popular sci-fi movies from the 90s. And mostly when it comes to Independence Day, mostly for me, I like it for what it is. It's a classic 90s movie, and I honestly never get tired of it, especially watching it around this holiday. So I'm gonna give Independence Day a B+. So yeah, if you have not seen this movie, I definitely recommend checking it out. So yeah, it's definitely worth your time. So I'm glad that I finally had a chance to get this off my chest, because I've been wanting to review this movie for a while. So it was good to have an opportunity to talk about it. So what were your thoughts on Independence Day? Let me know in the comment section below. And thank you so much, as always, for watching and supporting my channel. And I'm looking forward to doing more videos really soon. And if you want my thoughts on old or new movies, of course, you know where to find me.